Hans, thank you. Let's get some more on President Obama's campaign appearance in Philadelphia today. Our White House correspondent Michelle Kaczynski is on the scene for us. She's where the president spoke. Michelle, he really laid into Donald Trump today.
Yeah, he did, and somewhat unexpectedly, too. I mean, he stood here at the bottom of the Philadelphia Art Museum steps, yes, the ones from Rocky, and showed that he was here not just to support Hillary Clinton, but to punch back at Donald Trump repeatedly and directly. He called him out by name, which he doesn't always do. And he also got pretty specific, including Trump's praising of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Listen.
Think about what's happened to the Republican Party, right? They used to be opposed to Russia and authoritarianism and fighting for freedom and fighting for democracy. And now their nominee is out there praising a guy, saying he's a strong leader because he invades smaller countries, jails his opponents, controls the press, and drives his economy into a long recession. No, look, I'm actually being serious about it. Think about this. And then when the interviewer asked him, well, why do you support this guy? He's a strong guy. Look, he's got an 82% poll rating. Well, yes, so Saddam Hussein had a 90% poll rating. I mean, if you control the media and you've taken away everybody's civil liberties and you jail dissidents, that's what happens. You know, if the pollster calls you up and says, do you support the guy who, if you don't support him, he might throw you in jail, you say, yes, I love that guy.
Yeah, President Obama didn't hold back. He said that the Republican Party was fanning resentment and blame. He also called out Donald Trump for his knowledge, his charity work, his business dealings, said he was hiding his tax returns. And this is what we can expect to see more of from President Obama when he gets out on the trail much, much more often next month. Wolf? We'll
be watching him every step of the way. Thanks very much, Michelle Kaczynski in Philadelphia. Let's get some more on all of this. Joining us now, the Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. He's a member of the Foreign Relations Committee supporting Hillary Clinton. Senator, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf.
Last hour, we spoke with a Donald Trump supporter, Republican Congressman Chris Collins of New York. So how much help does Hillary Clinton really need to get President Obama's successful coalition, minorities, young people, women, out there to the polls in order to be elected President of the United States?
Well, Wolf, it's always helpful to have a strong ground game, and it's always helpful to have great surrogates, Vice President Biden, President Obama, and others out there on the campaign trail. But the most important thing is that Secretary Clinton sweats the details. She's got great policies. She's got good and strong and clear ideas for how to solve the very real problems facing America and to keep us safe and strong. So I frankly think it is great to have President Obama stirring up the crowd in Philadelphia. It's great that we've got a good get-out-the-vote plan and that the Clinton campaign is very well organized. But it's most important that she's a terrific and strong candidate.
The president made this first solo campaign visit to Pennsylvania. That's curious because Pennsylvania, neighboring to Delaware, it's a state that Democrats have been winning in presidential contests since the 90s. It's pretty reliably Democratic as far as presidential contests are concerned. Trump says he's going to win Pennsylvania. Are Democrats concerned right now about Pennsylvania, and that's why the campaign sent the president there?
Well, Wolf, I think the president was there partly because we have an important Senate race, partly because Trump can't win if he doesn't win Pennsylvania, and partly to engage with one of the most important states from the perspective of our Democratic base. I don't think we're worried about Pennsylvania, but I think it's prudent, it's wise, it's important to highlight and to invest in getting out our base in Pennsylvania and engaging with the voters across the state of Pennsylvania on why Secretary Clinton's got a better plan, a better path forward for our country.
Yeah, I listened to the entire speech that the president delivered, and almost all of it involved the presidential campaign. There were some brief references to that Senate race that you're talking about in Pennsylvania. Transparency is such a key campaign issue right now. So did the Clinton campaign, Senator, make a major mistake by not immediately disclosing her medical diagnosis with pneumonia?
Well, if I don't think this was a major mistake, those of us who've been on the campaign trail or covered people on the campaign trail know just how hard she works, how determined she is to just kind of power through anything in her way. I don't think folks will hold it against her for believing that with just a little rest, she'd be able to get right back out on the campaign trail. They've addressed it promptly. And when you stack this up against developments in the Trump campaign, some of the outrageous things he's been saying and Mike Pence refusing to disown the Ku Klux Klan leader, I don't think the fact that she had a bad afternoon and a hot day is going to amount to much at all compared to the very real challenges her opponent faces.
But her doctor told her on Friday that pneumonia is very serious, especially if you're over 65 years old. She's 68, almost 69 years old. Next month she'll be 69 years old, and recommended that she rest for a few days to deal with it, take the antibiotics and rest. As she herself told Anderson Cooper last night, she rejected that advice and she went out there, and we all saw what happened when she nearly collapsed trying to get into that van. That all could have been avoided if she would have accepted her doctor's advice.
That may be true, Wolf, but that's the Secretary Clinton I've gotten to know. When I've had the chance, the honor to travel with her overseas, she goes very hard. She works tirelessly. She puts every ounce of energy she's got into the job of serving our country. And to me, frankly, that's an admirable quality, even if perhaps her doctor would have preferred her to take a day off and rest. This is someone who sweats the details, who works tirelessly, and who's got a big heart for the American people. And I frankly don't think folks will hold this against her very long. It just reflects how strong she is and how hard she works on the campaign trail.
But as you know, if you take a look at the polls, Senator, she has a problem with the voters when it comes to trust. Look at this. We asked the question, who is more honest and trustworthy? 50% said Donald Trump. Only 35% said Hillary Clinton. That's a problem for her. How does she deal with that?
Well, I think both candidates have struggled to connect with the American people at a time when there is record distrust in government, in those who seek public office, and in whether or not the government can meet the very real needs of the people of the United States. I think the way Secretary Clinton deals with this question, this issue, is by being authentic, by talking with people, by listening to voters, and by doing what she's been doing, which is both to put forward really good and strong policy ideas, and to have those of us who've served with her and know her go out and campaign on her behalf and share the stories that come from years of service together.
John McCain released 8 years of medical records back in 2008 when he was running for president of the United States. He was at the time 70 or 71 years old. He allowed reporters, including our own Dr. Sanjay Gupta, to interview his doctors for hours and hours. Should both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump do the same thing now?
Well, I think it's important, as you said, Wolf, for there to be more transparency. Secretary Clinton's already released, I think, 40 years of her tax returns. We have yet to see a single tax return from Donald Trump. I do think more transparency around their health records would be positive, too. And Secretary Clinton's already said she's going to be taking steps in that direction.
But do you think they should go as far as what John McCain did, because they're roughly the same age that he was?
Well, here's what I do know is that Donald Trump releasing some records on the Dr. Oz show and releasing a trumped-up letter from a doctor about his medical condition isn't going to win any points for transparency. I do think both candidates ought to be more fully transparent about their health records, and if that's what comes out of this very minor incident, that's probably a good thing for the electorate and for the American election.
All right, Senator, I want you to stand by. We have more to discuss, including latest reports that the Russians may try to hack and influence the U.S. presidential contest. Getting new information on that, Senator Coons, stay with us. We'll be right back.